So today's lesson is lesson 10-2, which is percent greater than 100% and less than 1%. Okay? So we did our warm-up. You got your homework out and you watched the video, percents from fractions to models in common. If you did not finish watching the video today in that 4 minutes, then you can go ahead and finish it watching it at home. Okay? So let's take a look at our intro here. It says percents are greater than 100% when the number being compared to 100 is greater than 100. When the percent is greater than 100%, the part is greater than the whole. All right, so when we're taking a look at this first picture here, how many are shaded out of the total? 100 out of? Oh, out of the whole thing. 100 out of 100. 100 out of 100, right? So this is 100 out of 100. Is everybody with me? Mm-hmm. The next one, how many are shaded out of the total? 25. So this is 25 out of 100. So this over here, this 100 out of 100, that's 100%, right? Mm-hmm. That is 100 per 100, which is 100%. This 25 per 100 is 25%. So if I add these together, you guys, I'm going to get over here 125 over 100. And then down here, this is going to be 125%. Does everybody see those are equivalent? So example 1, we are identifying the percent. And so we want to find the percent represented by that 10 by 10 grid. So again, we're going to look to see what percent is over here? What's that? That's 100%, right? If I write it as a fraction, it's going to be 100 over 100. I'm going to just write both of those. I'm just going to write 100 over 100. I'm going to write it as a fraction. Plus, what's this one going to be? What's the fraction for this?
37.
So that, 37 over 100, right? So that's going to be 37 over 100. So when I add those together, it's going to be 137 per 100, which is 137%. Is everybody clear? So if we write it over here, if I go on to the pictures, I'm going to write this is 100%, this is 37%, right? And then if we add those together, we're going to get 137%. All right, so for letter B, we got 212%. Because here, for the first one, we've got 100 per 100, that's 100%, right? Mm-hmm. Then we've got another 100% right here. And then over here, we've got 12 out of 100, which is 12%. So when we add those together, we get 212%. Example 2, we are going to model the percent. It says, at birth, a male baby giraffe stands almost 6 feet tall. At 4 years of age, the male giraffe will be about 3 times as tall as at birth. Write a percent that compares the giraffe's height at 4 years of age to its height at birth. Then draw and shade the 10 by 10 grid mod to model the percent. Now, first thing I want to ask you is, what are we comparing? So we're going to compare the giraffe's height at 4 years of age to its height at birth. Is everybody clear with that? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write down what I'm comparing. So this is height at 4 years. And we're comparing that to height at birth. Okay. Now, let's get that information out of the words, right? So it says, a male giraffe stands at almost 6 feet tall at birth, right? So at birth, almost 6 feet tall. So where does that 6 go?
Or at the bottom.
At the bottom. So 6 feet goes down here. And then it says, at 4 years of age, the male giraffe will be about 3 times as tall as at birth. So 3 times as tall, what's my operation?
3 times.
Multiplication, and I'm multiplying times 3, right? So we're multiplying birth, so that's 6 times 3. Is everybody clear how we got that?
Yes, ma'am.
So if I simplify that, that's going to give me 18 to 6. Now, it says we want to write a percent. Does everybody see that? So we want to write this as a percent. Right? As a percent. What does a percent have in the denominator? 100 is per 100, right? So we want to write 18/6 with a denominator of 100. And then we need to figure out what that is, because that's going to be x per 100, right? So that x is going to give me the percent. Is everybody with me? That's going to give me the percent. So can I get from 6 to 100 directly? So how am I going to solve for x? What was that one method we? Right. We're going to cross multiply. Very good. So, cross multiplication. It's my favorite. So, 6 times x is 6x. And then 18 times 100 is beautiful. 1800, 1800. To get the x by itself, we will divide by 6. Divide by 6. So those 6's will cancel. And x is equal to 300. So that 300 goes up here, right? That's 300 per 100. Is everybody with me? So if that's 300 per 100, this 300 represents what? 300 percent. Per 100 means percent. So now it says, draw and shade the 10 by 10 grid model. So how do I show 300% in those 100 grids?
By shading 3, 4,
Right. We want to shade 3 whole things. So go ahead and cut those out and go ahead and shade those to shade your model. All right. So that is what 300% looks like in your shading. Got it? So I would like for you to take a minute or two to complete this one with your table partners. This one says, at birth, a baby elephant stands almost 3 feet tall. At 15 years of age, an elephant will be about 4 times as tall as at birth. Write a percent that compares the elephant's height at 15 years of age to its height at birth. Then draw and shade 10 by 10 grids to model the percent. Here is our important information. Okay? So we're comparing height at 15 to the height at birth. Okay? At birth, the baby elephant is 15. Oh, here's my comparison. Height at 15 to birth. And at birth, the elephant is 3 feet tall. And at 15, the elephant is 4 times as tall as at birth. So that's 3 times 4. So that's how I'm showing it on my work. So we've got 12 to 3. Okay? That is what we want to change to a percent. So we want, for per 100, what do we want in the denominator?
100.
100. So this is the proportion that we are going to set up. And how are we going to solve that proportion? Cross multiply. Very good. So when we cross multiply, on one side we have 3 times x, which is 3x. 3 times x is 3x. And then on the other side we have 12 times 100, which is 1200. Good. Then, to get the x by itself, we will divide by 3. Beautiful. So now those 3's cancel, and x is equal to 400. And that's 400 what?
40%.
Percent. Very good. And how do I show 400% with the grids?
You shaded 4 of 100.
Very good. So we want to shade in all 4 of these 10 by 10 grids. So this is what the 400% looks like. Now it says here for the next, this is an intro to percents that are less than 1%. It says percents are less than 1% when the number being compared to 100 is less than 1. Less than 1, of course, means what? That means they are decimal or fraction. Very good. Decimal or fraction. Okay. So here, this says, this picture here, this is this one teeny little thing shaded in 100 square, right? Now, it looks like it's 1%, right? But it's really not. If you look at this blow up right here, how many are shaded in there?
93.
There are 93 shaded in the 1%. There are 93 shaded in the 1%. So that says that is 93 of those out of the 1%. So that says 93 hundredths of 1%. Is everybody clear with that?
Mm-hmm.
So this is, oops, let me write it down. This here is 93 hundredths. And that's 93 hundredths of that piece, which is 1%. Is everybody clear? What does of in math mean? Right, of in math means multiply. Okay, so I could do some calculations to figure this out, but we're just going to look at the picture for now. Okay, so example 3 is identify the percent. So here we want to know what percent is represented by the 10 by 10 grid. So remember, it's this much of 1%, right? So what is represented in that little blow up right there? Yep. So there are 35 out of 100, right? So that's 35 out of 100. What decimal is that?
0.35.
0.35 of 1%. Is everybody clear with that?
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to look at to tell what percent that is, that's going to be 0.35%. So again, you guys, all you're going to do is you're going to look at that picture. How much is shaded in this blow-up piece? So this is 70 out of 100, right? That's 70 out of 100. So that's going to be 0.70 of 1%. Now, do I need that trailing zero there?
No.
No, you don't need that trailing zero. So what's my final answer going to be? 0.7%. Very good. All right, so example 4 says model the percent. So now we're modeling those percents that are less than 100. So it says, the average weight of a brown bear is about 1,000 pounds. Suppose a large stuffed bear weighs 2.5 pounds. Write a percent to compare the weight of the stuffed animal to the weight of the brown bear. So, what are we comparing? The weight of the stuffed animal to the weight of the brown bear. Is everybody clear? So we're going to write that down. So we're going to write stuffed to the bear. The bear. Okay, so now let's take a look at what's important here. It says the average weight of the brown bear, so there's a brown bear, is 1,000 pounds. Where does that 1,000 go? In the top or the bottom? That goes in the denominator, 1,000. Okay? Then it says up here, the stuffed bear weighs 2.5 pounds. So that goes up top, 2.5. Is everybody with me? Now, we want to write that as a percent. Percent means per 100, right? Per 100. But that's not 100, that's 1,000. Very good. So we want to divide by 10 in the numerator and the denominator. So that's going to be 0.25 out of 100. Now, hold on. That's 25 hundredths per 100, right? So that's, what's my percent going to be? Right, 0.25%. Is everybody clear with that? Now, how do I shade that? Well, we know that 25 hundredths, that's equal to 1/4, right? So this piece right here, that's equal to 1/4, right? So, to shade it over here, we want 1/4 of 1%. Is everybody with me? So here's 1%, that one little piece there. I'm going to split that into fourths, and I'm only going to shade one teeny little fourth of it. Is everybody clear with that? So example 4b says the Statue of Liberty is about 3,600 inches tall. A replica of the statue is 4.5 inches tall. Write a percent that compares the height of the replica to the height of the actual statue. So you're going to do that with your table partners, and then we'll go over it. So here's our important information. We are going to compare the height of the replica to the height of the actual statue. So it says up here the actual statue is 3,600 inches tall, and then the replica is 4.5 inches tall. So first things we want to do is we want to set up our ratio. So we are comparing, and we're going to write down what we're comparing, the replica to the actual. So we're going to replica to the actual. So now we can set up our ratio. So it says here the actual statue is 3,600 inches tall. So that's going to go down here in the denominator, 3,600. And we want, let's see, the replica of the statue is 4.5 inches tall. Okay, now we want to write a percent that compares the height of the replica to the height of the actual statue. So this is what we want to change to a percent. So we're going to write, and remember, it has a percents we have per 100, so we want to have 100 in the denominator. So I'm going to rewrite this as 4.5 over 3,600, and that's going to be equal to 100 in the denominator, and we're going to solve for x in the numerator. Now, I know that I can't get from 3,600 to 100 directly. So I'm just gonna say I'm going to cross multiply. So when we cross multiply, we've got 3,600x on this side, and then on the other side, 4.5 times 100, that's going to be 450. Okay, now to get the x by itself, we're going to divide by 3,600. 3,600. So these will cancel to 1, and x is equal to, let's get our calculator out, that's going to be 450 divided by 3,600, and that's 0.125. So 0.125, that is the number, remember, that goes in for x. So this is 0.125 per 100, so that makes this 0.125%. Okay? Now we need to figure out how much we're going to shade. So I wanted to know, like in the previous example, we could say that 0.25 was 1/4. Okay? So what I did down here is I took the 0.125, that's 125 thousandths, and that's 1/8. Okay? So to model the percent, we're going to shade 1/8 of one of the squares on a 10 by 10 grid. Ooh, that's going to be tiny. All right, so I said that I was going to go back at the end of the lecture and then show you how to do the calculations for example 3 for the percents that are less than 1%. So here we want to find what is the percent that is shown here. So when we look at this, I'll make it a little bit bigger so you can see it. So when we look at this, okay, we can see this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. This is 35 hundredths, right? So that's 35 hundredths of 1%. This is one whole percent. So that's 35 hundredths, or 35% of 1%. Let's say it like that. So that's 35% of 1%. Now, we know that in math, of means multiply. So if I change all of these to fractions, this is going to be 35 hundredths, that's per 100, times 1%, which is 1 per 100. Okay? Now, when we do this multiplication, that's going to give us 35 over 1 with 4 zeros, that's 10,000. So this is 35 10,000. Now, we want to write this as a percent. Remember, percent means per 100. So that means we want this denominator right here, we want this decimal to be over here. We want it to go 2 places to the left. So if I'm moving the decimal 2 places to the left, that means we are dividing. And because we're going twice, 2 places to the left, we're dividing by 100. So I'm going to divide the numerator and the denominator by 100. So that gives me 0.35 over 100. See, that moves the decimal 2 places to the left. So now that's 100. So now the calculation of this picture is 35 hundredths per 100, which means 35 hundredths percent. And that is what we got when we calculated it originally in class. The 35 hundredths percent.